On the group vacation I mostly paid for. She said, stop complaining about the cost. If you can't afford to have fun, just leave. I replied, okay. I went back to the hotel, checked out, and flew home. Their fun ended when the group credit card I canceled was declined at their next bar. Prat 3. The front desk politely informed them that, as the primary guest had checked out, they would need to present a new, valid credit card to cover the remaining 2 nights of the stay, plus the several $1,000s in room service and poolside bar charges they had already accumulated. A massive, screaming argument erupted right there at the lobby. The friends blamed Lauren for the situation. Lauren, in turn, blamed them for being so demanding and extravagant. Her brother said it was the most humiliating experience of his life. They were forced to make a series of panicked, groveling phone calls to their parents, begging for money to be wired to them. They had to abandon the luxurious resort and spend their last 2 nights in a cheap, sketchy motel far from the beach. Their triumphant, Instagram-worthy vacation had devolved into a stressful, budget-conscious nightmare. The flight home, he said, was 5 hours of bitter, seething silence. Back home, the consequences continued to cascade. The first thing I did was hire a moving company. I went to our shared apartment while Lauren was at work, and under the supervision of a neutral third party, I had them professionally pack and move every single item that belonged to me. That included the sofa, the television, the dining room table, the bed, and all of the kitchenware. I had paid for all of it, and I had the receipts to prove it. I left her with her clothes, her personal belongings, and an empty apartment. I then had my lawyer draft a formal letter to her and the landlord. It stated that I was moving out and that I was willing to sign a lease break agreement, but that I would not be paying the hefty penalty fee. That responsibility, the letter made clear, would fall to the remaining tenant. Her. Lauren, now living in an empty apartment she couldn't afford, with a massive lease break penalty hanging over her head, finally seemed to grasp the totality of her defeat. Her friends, the ones she had tried so hard to impress, were no longer speaking to her. They blamed her for the most humiliating vacation of their lives. Her final, pathetic move was to try and launch a smear campaign. She told anyone who would listen that I was a cruel, manipulative monster who had abandoned her in a foreign country out of spite. But the story was too good, too specific. The truth, as told by her own brother and the other friends, had already made the rounds. Everyone knew what had really happened. They knew she had pointed to the door. They just never expected I would have the courage to walk through it. Final update. It has been 6 months since I took the most satisfying flight of my life. The chaos has long since subsided, and my new life is built on a foundation of peace and, more importantly, self-respect. The final chapters of Lauren's story have been written, and it is a cautionary tale about the high cost of cheap words. Lauren was unable to pay the lease break penalty for the apartment. The debt went to collections, and her credit score was destroyed. She was forced to abandon the empty apartment and move back in with her parents. A 30-year-old woman with nothing to her name, but a few boxes of clothes and a reputation for being a user. Her friendships with the vultures are, by all accounts, permanently fractured. The shared trauma and humiliation of the Cabo trip, combined with the bitter arguments over